Assalamu alaikum. I'm Dr. Hiba Sadiq Seb, lecturer of internal medicine. Today we will talk about cardiac auscultation. First, we have to answer three important questions: where, what, and when. The first question is where to put our stethoscope. Our stethoscope is composed of two parts. This is called the diaphragm, and this is called the bell of the stethoscope. The diaphragm is used to listen to the high-pitched sounds, and the bell is used to listen to the low-pitched sounds. The diaphragm, where, the first question, we will put the diaphragm of the stethoscope on the four areas of the cardiac valves, as we took in the inspection and palpation of the heart: the mitral area, tricuspid area, pulmonary area, and aortic area. We will discuss on the patient. First, we should stand on the right side of the patient, greet the patient, and ask the patient to do examination on him. ازيك يا يسري عامل ايه؟ اخبارك ايه؟ استاذنك بس هنكشف عليك. Okay, as we took in inspection and palpation of the heart, we first identify the apex by inspection, and it's the lowermost, outermost positive thrust, or anatomically it's present in the left fifth intercostal space at the mid-clavicular line. Okay, this is the sternal angle, second space, third, fourth, and this is the fifth space. So this is the apex, and this is called the mitral area. And this is the first area we put our stethoscope, the first in where. Second area is the tricuspid area at the lower left sternal border, this area. So this is the mitral area. First we put our stethoscope. This is called the diaphragm we start with, and this is the tricuspid area, and then the pulmonary and aortic area are this is the sternal angle, and this is the second space, right and left, at right and left sternal border. And this at the left side is the pulmonary area, and on the right side is the aortic area. So when we start auscultation of the heart, we identify the four areas, and we put our stethoscope on each area. First, the apex or mitral area and lower left sternal border, and this is the tricuspid area, and the second right and left sternal borders. These are the pulmonary and aortic areas. Then, when we are hearing low-pitched sounds, we use our bell of the stethoscope, and we put mostly on the apex or left lower sternal border, and we will discuss this in details. So these are the areas. This is the aortic and pulmonary, tricuspid and mitral area, as we shown on the patient. Second question is what? What will we hear on these areas? First, the heart sounds, and the most important two heart sounds are the first and second heart sounds, S1 and S2. Then the other less common heart sounds, S3 and S4. The second is the additional sounds that called the ejection click or opening snap or pericardial rub. And the third thing that we will comment on, the murmur with its components. The third question, which is the most important question, when, which is called timing. So we knew where, the areas, and what, the sounds that we will hear, and the third is the timing or when. This is the most important. We will put our stethoscope mostly at first on the apex. Okay, we will hear two sounds, the first and second heart sounds, in the form of lab-dub, lab-dub, lab-dub. Okay, which is the first sound and which is the second sound? This is called timing. How we identify these sounds? We will demonstrate on the patient. We will put the stethoscope on the apex. Apical area that we identify. We will hear lab-dub, 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 lab-dub. To identify the first and second heart sound, we will do timing. How to do timing? بعد إذنك. أيوة. Okay. Identify the carotid artery. Okay. And then we will do the timing. With the upstroke of the carotid artery, this will be the systole, so it goes with S1. So when we hear S1, S2, or lub dub, lub dub, lub dub, lub, will be the upstroke of, or when we feel the carotid artery, while the dub will be in between carotid pulses. And this is very important. When we identify S1 and S2, the area between S1 and S2 is called systole, and the area between S2 and next S1 is called diastole. This is the S1, S2, which we hear lub dub, lub dub, lub dub. The area between S1 and S2 is called systole, and the area between S2 and next S1 is called diastole. Systole, diastole, systole, diastole, lub dub, lub dub. First, to identify where is S1 and where is S2. So when we are auscultating the heart, we feel the carotid pulse at the same time. So the carotid pulse will be with S1 in the systole, and then it will decrease with the diastole. Increase with systole and decrease with diastole. And as we said, this is the most important step to do timing, because when we hear abnormal sounds, we should know is it in systole or diastole to identify the identity of this abnormal sound. Okay, we'll discuss in details what will we hear. The first is heart sounds. Heart sounds occurs due to closure of the valves. Normally, closure of the valves make sounds, but opening of the valves, the normal valves, is silent. Okay, the closure of the AV valves, which are the mitral and tricuspid valve, produce S1, which is called the first heart sound, or the lub. The closure of the aortic and pulmonary valves will produce the second heart sound, and it's called dub. Okay, first heart sound, as we said, it's due to closure of the mitral and tricuspid valve, and this occurs at the onset of the systole and best heard on the apex. Normally, we should hear more patients or listen to more patients to identify is it normal or abnormal. The abnormalities of the first heart sound may be decreased or increased or loud, accentuated, or variable. The most important causes, it's due to closure of the AV valve. So when the valve is incompetent due to regurg, mitral regurg, or there is poor left ventricular function or low cardiac output, the sound will be low. It's loud when there is organic mitral stenosis, and this is the most important cause, mitral stenosis. Okay, and it's variable when the cardiac cycle is variable at patients with irregularities in the heartbeat, like atrial fibrillation, extrasystole, or complete heart block. This is regarding first heart sound. The second heart sound occurs due to closure of the semilunar valves, the pulmonary and aortic valves, and it's at the end of the systole, and this is what's called dub, and it's best heard on the base of the heart at the pulmonary and aortic area. We identify the suprasternal notch, and this is the sternal angle. Okay, it marks the second rib, and these are the second intercostal space, right and left. This is the pulmonary area. Okay, second left intercostal space or sternal line, and this is the aortic area, second right intercostal space at the parasternal line. Okay, so we best hear second heart sound, or S2, at these both areas. Second heart sound is composed of two components, the aortic component and the pulmonary component. Usually, in most of the cases, both are heard as single second heart sound. We should know some information about second heart sound and its two components. The aortic component is due to closure of the aortic valve against systemic circulation, so it's quite louder than the pulmonary, because the pulmonary circulation has lower pressure than the systemic circulation. So the second heart sound is formed mainly from the aortic component. The pulmonary component is only heard on the pulmonary area. So at the pulmonary area, we may hear the second heart sound splitted two components, aortic and pulmonary component. The right side of the heart can be affected by respiration. During inspiration, there is increase in venous return, so there is delay in the pulmonary closure. So the pulmonary component is quietly delayed. This will cause the splitting. So the splitting of the second heart sound normally occurs during inspiration due to delay of the pulmonary component due to increased venous return and increase the pulmonary circulation and increased venous filling of the right ventricle. Okay, this is normal. And during expiration, it's heard as a single sound. So during the inspiration, on auscultation, we hear lub da dub, lub da dub. The second heart sound is split, lub da dub. All this on the pulmonary area where we can hear the pulmonary component. While on expiration, we hear lub dub as usual. This is the normal of the second heart sound. Sometimes you can listen to this or you can hear this splitting, and most of the time it's not heard. Okay. What are the abnormalities in the second heart sound and in the splitting? Okay. The second heart sound, the aortic component may be decreased or quiet in calcific aortic stenosis or aortic regurg. Okay. The aortic component is loud in systemic hypertension, and the pulmonary component is increased in pulmonary hypertension. So these both causes will lead to increase the second heart sound or loud second heart sound due to pulmonary hypertension or systemic hypertension, while decrease second heart sound due to aortic regurg or calcific aortic stenosis. The splitting, the abnormalities in the splitting may be either wide splitting or reverse splitting. The wide splitting may be wide fixed splitting or wide and variable with respiration, like the normal, but with wider splitting. The wide splitting with normal respiratory variation will be due to delay of the pulmonary component when the right side of the heart conduction delay, like right bundle branch block or pulmonary hypertension. And the wide splitting is fixed splitting when there is atrial septal defect. There is defect between the right and left atrium, so the blood will go at first from the left atrium with higher pressure to the right atrium with the lower pressure, will equalize pressure in two atria, so it will eliminate the effect of respiration on the splitting of the heart sound. So the splitting will be wide and fixed splitting. The other abnormality in the second heart sound splitting is the reversed splitting. When the aortic component, this is the aortic and this is the pulmonary. Normally, okay, during expiration, both are, the second heart sound is heard as one sound. During inspiration, this is the pulmonary component will be delayed. This is the normal variation, okay? So the abnormality when the pulmonary is more and more or further delayed, so there will be wide splitting with respiratory variation, okay, in pulmonary hypertension or right bundle branch block. It's wide and fixed splitting in atrial septal defect, but when the aortic component is delayed, this will be reversed splitting. Reversed splitting. The aortic component will be delayed, okay, and this is called reversed splitting. Aortic component is delayed on systemic hypertension or left bundle branch block. Okay, this is for demonstration during expiration and inspiration, as we explained before. The splitting, the normal physiological splitting, and this is the wide fixed splitting in atrial septal defect, and this is the reverse splitting in systemic hypertension or left bundle branch block. This is very important to know the splitting of the second heart sound and its abnormalities. Then the less common, we hear another heart sound. So when we identify S1 and S2 and systole and diastole, we start to focus in the systole and in the diastole to hear if there is any additional sounds or not. The third heart sound is low-pitched, and as we said, the low-pitched sounds are heard by the bell of the stethoscope, and it occurs in the early diastole after S2 at the apex. The best site to hear the third heart sound is at the apex. It's due to rapid ventricular filling after opening of the AV valve, the mitral and tricuspid valve. Most common cause is left ventricular failure, and the third heart sound is an early sign of left ventricular failure. And this is the dub, the first and second heart sound. This is the systole, and this is the diastole. It occurs in the early diastole. Fourth heart sound is less common. It's also low-pitched sound, so it's heard also by the bell of the stethoscope at the apex of the heart. It occurs just below S1, and it's called pre-systolic. It occurs due to atrial contraction at the end of the diastole. When there is a non-compliant and stiff ventricle, so the atrial contraction will produce sound. This is called the fourth heart sound, and it occurs with left ventricular hypertrophy. This is the fourth heart sound, occurs before the first heart sound, okay, in the late diastole. We finished the heart sounds, first and second, which are the most important, third and fourth. Third occurs at early left ventricular or ventricular failure, and the fourth occurs with heart failure or ventricular hypertrophy. The additional sounds, you should know the additional sounds, but they are less important than other sounds. We said that closure of the valves produce sound, the normal heart sounds, while opening of the valves is silent. But when these valves are abnormal, so the opening of the valves will produce sound. According to the affected valve will be the name. The opening snap occurs in mitral or rarely tricuspid stenosis. Mitral or tricuspid stenosis, when the leaflets of the valves are abnormal, so they produce sound while opening. So it occurs early in diastole when these valves open, just after the second heart sound, where it's heard by the diaphragm and at the apex. Okay, this is called opening snap, and this occurs in mitral stenosis or tricuspid stenosis. While when the problem is in the aortic or less commonly pulmonary stenosis, it's called ejection click. Ejection click, and this is a high-pitched sound, also heard by the diaphragm, and it occurs early in systole. The other additional sound is called precardial rub. The pericardium has two layers, visceral and parietal. When there is inflammation in the pericardium in acute pericarditis, the sliding of these layers on each other will produce sound. This will be a scratching sound, or it's called to and fro sound. During systole and diastole, it will be like this. And to differentiate this from pleurisy in the pleura, we ask the patient to take a deep breath and do expiration and hold breath during expiration when the sound continue. So this is due to pericardial rub, not pleural rub. When we stop respiration at expiration, okay, we use the diaphragm, and of course it's heard all over the pericardium. The third thing we comment on, so we first commented on heart sounds, and second, additional sounds, and the third are the murmurs. The murmurs, normally the blood flow is silent in the circulation. Murmurs occur due to many mechanisms. Turbulent flow across abnormal valve, or if there is septal defect, or if there is outflow obstruction, or if the valve is normal but there is increased velocity of blood through the normal valve, and these are called innocent murmurs. And these are the mechanisms of murmurs. When we hear a murmur, we should comment, do this full comment. Timing of the murmur, and this is very, very important. The duration, character, the pitch of the murmur, intensity, location, and radiation or selective propagation. When we do all this for each murmur we hear, we will collect the whole information and interpret the information to know what is the affected valve and what is the abnormality. First is the timing. As we said, we do timing with the carotid artery. We hear the first and second heart sound. We said this before to identify the systole and diastole. Then we hear at the systole or diastole. And is this murmur systolic, goes with the carotid pulse, or it's diastolic. Second is the duration of the murmur. Is it during the whole period of the systole or diastole, or it's early, or it's in the middle, or it's increase or decrease? This is for demonstration. Ejection systolic murmur of the aortic stenosis and pulmonary stenosis will start after the systole and increases gradually and decreases gradually. This is called crescendo-decrescendo pattern. Okay, while the pan-systolic murmur of the mitral regurg or tricuspid regurg or ventricular septal defect (VSD) will take the whole systole, and it will mask the first heart sound, and it will be decreased, as we said in the causes of decreased heart sound. The early diastolic murmur of aortic regurg or pulmonary regurg start at the beginning of the diastole and decreases afterwards. The mid-diastolic murmur of mitral stenosis starts after the second heart sound, and it decreases gradually. This is to demonstrate the duration. So some murmurs will take the whole duration of the systole or diastole, early, increases and decreases, or starts late. The third is the character and pitch of the murmur. This is important to identify the type of the murmur, and this will need experience and practice to hear the murmur. We can describe the murmur as harsh or blowing or musical according to what we hear, and this will need slightly experience. Rumbling murmur, and regarding the pitch, it will be either high or low pitched sounds, and as we said, the high pitched sounds are heard by the diaphragm, and the low pitched sounds are heard by the bell of the stethoscope. The intensity of the murmur is divided into six grades. The first grade is only heard by expert in an optimum condition. The second, heard by non-expert in optimum condition. All we can hear this, but under optimum condition. The third is easily heard, but no thrill. As we took in inspection palpation of the heart, the thrill occurs with murmur louder than grade 3, from 4 upwards. With grade 4, loud murmur, and it will be accompanied by a thrill. 5 is very loud, heard over a wide area. The 6 can be heard with stethoscope slightly away from the chest wall. Diastolic murmurs usually are not that loud and are localized on the affected valve, so mostly will reach grade 3. And this is an important sentence. The intensity of a murmur doesn't correlate with severity of the valve dysfunction. When the murmur is louder, this doesn't mean that the abnormality is very severe. Sometimes it's the reverse, like in the septal defect. When the septal defect is very small, the murmur sound is very high. When the defect is larger, so the sound is slightly lower. The location of the murmur, as we said, the first question we answered, where the location of the murmur when we put our stethoscope, is it at the apex or aortic area or pulmonary area or the tricuspid area. This is important, as we said, to differentiate the diastolic murmurs because diastolic murmurs are localized at its area or at its valve, while most of the systolic murmurs are propagated throughout the precordium, so it's difficult to localize. The radiation or selective propagation of the murmur is also an important criteria of some murmurs. So when you suspect some murmurs, like the pansystolic murmur of mitral regurg, okay, the blood flow will go in the direction. The murmur radiates to the direction of the blood flow. So with mitral regurg, the direction of the blood flow will be to the left axilla. So when we are hearing when you are hearing a case of mitral regurg at the apex, okay, it's a pansystolic murmur as we described on the apex, and it's with selective propagation to the left axilla. So we move the stethoscope to the left axilla to hear the murmur, and when there is a mitral regurg, the sound will be louder, or it will be propagated towards the axilla. While the aortic stenosis murmur, the aortic stenosis is heard at the aortic area. This is the aortic area as we demonstrated. This is the second space, and this is the aortic area. So the aortic stenosis is heard at this area, the aortic area, and it's propagated to the carotid and the root of the neck. Okay. If there is a aortic stenosis, it will be propagated in this direction. And the third is the ventricular septal defect. It's heard on tricuspid area, left lower sternal border. This is the left lower sternal border, and it will be radiated to the right lower sternal border. These are the most famous murmurs with selective propagation. The causes of systolic murmur. The systolic murmur will be either ejection systolic murmur at the beginning of the systole, or increases and then decreases. As we said, the most important causes are aortic stenosis and pulmonary stenosis, and what's called innocent murmur, or the murmur with increase or like severe anemia, fever, and pregnancy. Okay, the pansystolic murmurs, as we said, the mitral regurg, tricuspid regurg, ventricular septal defect, or its late systolic murmur like mitral valve prolapse. The murmur of aortic stenosis, usually, as we said, the aortic stenosis is a systolic murmur, and it's heard all over the precordium. It's harsh in character, high-pitched, radiates to the upper right sternal edge and suprasternal notch and carotid arteries, as we said. So these are the gathering or collecting the whole information from the interpretation, and then we will know the exact valve affected and exact pathology in this valve. So when it's all over the precordium, harsh, high-pitched, radiating to the upper right sternal edge and suprasternal notch and carotid artery, and mostly loud with a thrill, and this is ejection systolic murmur, so it's mostly due to aortic stenosis, and it's best heard on the aortic area but propagated all over the precordium. When we hear a pansystolic murmur, loud, soft blowing, best heard at the apex and radiating to the axilla, and so this is a mitral regurg murmur. Tricuspid regurg is like mitral regurg, but the same character, but it occurs at the left lower sternal border. Ventricular septal defect, as we said, it's a pentasystolic murmur, left lower sternal border radiating to the right sternal border. And it's associated with thrill. Diastolic murmurs, the most important are the aortic regurg, which is the early diastolic murmur, heard best at the left sternal edge when the patient is sitting and leaning forward and held expiration. استأذنك يسري تقعد. وطي كده بس لقدام وخد نفس جامد وطلعه، خد نفس كمان طلعه واكتمه. Okay, so this is the second area. This is the second aortic area here, below the pulmonary area, where we hear the murmur of the aortic regurg. It's early diastolic. شكرا يسري. Early diastolic in character. Okay, and at the left sternal edge, where patient leaning forward and held expiration. Pulmonary regurg is very uncommon. It occurs in where there is pulmonary hypertension and widening of the pulmonary ring, and this will lead to pulmonary regurg. It's called Graham-Steele murmur. The second important diastolic murmur is the mid-diastolic murmur of the mitral stenosis. It's a low-pitched sound heard by the bell of the stethoscope at the apex, and the best position is the left lateral position. استأذنك يسري تيجي على الناحية الشمال كده. This is called the left lateral position. Okay, so the apex will be nearer to the chest wall. This is the apex as we identified in the first. So at this position, we hear best the mitral stenosis murmur, which is mid-diastolic, rumbling in character, and it's low-pitched, so we hear by the bell of the stethoscope, and the patient is on the left lateral position. He can be accompanied with, as we said, opening snap. Okay. It's accentuated by exercise. The tricuspid stenosis is like the mitral stenosis, but it's less common. The last thing we have today is continuous murmur. The continuous murmur is rare, but it occurs with patients with patent ductus arteriosus, PDA. This is the embryological link between the aorta and the pulmonary artery. It closes on delivery or soon after delivery. If it persists, it's called patent ductus arteriosus due to the continuous higher pressure in the aorta than the pulmonary. So there is continuous flow, and it's sometimes called machinery murmur. The murmur is continuous during whole systole and whole diastole, whole systole and whole diastole. It's like shh, within lub dub. Okay, this is the last slide for demonstration. For revision, the mitral and tricuspid regurg murmurs are pan-systolic during the whole systole between S1 and S2, starts with the beginning of the systole and ends at the end of the systole. The mitral best heard on the apex and tricuspid best heard on the tricuspid area. The mitral is propagated with selective propagation to the axilla. This is the mitral valve prolapse starts late in the systole, and this is the mitral stenosis murmur, mid-diastolic, rumbling in character. Okay, it may be accompanied by opening snap or accentuated first heart sound, best heard on the patient in the left lateral position, and it's accentuated by exercise. This is the aortic stenosis murmur, ejection systolic murmur. It may be accompanied by ejection click at the beginning of the murmur due to opening of the abnormal leaflets of the valve, and then it increases and decreases, crescendo decrescendo pattern. The aortic stenosis or pulmonary stenosis is the same. It's heard all over the precordium with selective propagation to the root of the neck and the carotid artery. The aortic regurg is early diastolic murmur, occurs after S2, and it occurs in the early diastole. Aortic or pulmonary regurg are the same. The aortic on the aortic area and the pulmonary on the pulmonary area. It's best heard when the patient is sitting, leaning forward, and during held expiration. The PDA murmur, as we said, it's called a machinery murmur or continuous murmur. It occurs due to the whole systole and diastole. The reference is our Macleod Clinical Examination, 14th edition, 2018, and thank you.